Okay, so we are going to have a go at doing a decoupage plant pot. Okay, so the first bit of the book is giving you lots of handy hints and general information, and then the project is here, tells you everything you need, takes you through step by step, and there's extra handy hints and top tips, and there's photos all through the book with different examples of what you can do with your pots, okay, to give you an idea. It's worth reading it through first a couple of times. I always advise to get everything ready. So we have our clay terracotta plant pot. You can do plastic if you want. Plastic, you maybe need to give it a little sandpaper first. These are for clay. I find them, they're nice and natural. They dry quickly. They're readily available as well. Okay, so we've got our clay, we've got our dabbers, we have our Mod Podge, we have our white paint, emulsion. You can use chalk paint or acrylic. We have napkins, of course. We have cling film. We have a brush, and I have some water at the side as well. Okay, so those are the basics that you need. I am now going to just move this to one side. I do recommend using a tray in the book because it's handy. This is just extra. You don't need to add colour, but if you do, there's acrylic paint. I also talk about the wee tester pots because you get different colours that you'll not get here. More interior colours that give you a wider range. There's glitter glue. This is Hessian, but it's self-adhesive, which is nice for the rims. Sometimes I also use cotton. I have lots of cotton in the house, you might not. But you can use different paper or fabric just to decorate your rim if you want as well. Okay, so those are extras, but the pots look absolutely gorgeous just on white. Alrighty. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to dab, okay? So we need to cover it with white paint. And this is why the wee testers are good. Lid comes off and you're ready to go. I tend to use the bigger sponge, but it's up to you, okay? You can wrap, I'll maybe do that now actually. You can wrap your finger with a little bit of kitchen towel and just poke it through there a little bit and hold it that way. Now I have a bit of a dodgy wrist, but I'm still able to do that. Or if that's too difficult, just do from bottom up, let it dry, and then do the top. You don't have to do it all in one go, okay? Now, I talk a lot about dab, dab, dab. You can see it gives you a nice even coverage. If I was to paint it, even with a little bit more on, you're still going to get streaks, which we don't want, okay? We want even coverage. And you keep going back over, 2 steps forward, 1 step back over where you've been, to keep it all nice and smooth. I'm sort of touching here, just so that it's definitely painted at the bottom as well. The nice thing about working on terracotta, on clay, is it's porous. So it's soaking up all the moisture, so it dries pretty quickly. By 15 minutes and this will be dry to the touch, okay? If you need 2 coats, that's absolutely fine. If you're using chalk paint, that's the nice thing about chalk paint. It's more expensive, but 1 coat will definitely do, okay? So as you can see in here, I'm sort of pushing into the rim. And can you even see whenever I'm doing my paint, I'm giving it a little rub there, because you don't want too much paint. 2 thin layers are always better than 1 thick layer, okay? So you take your time and you go in here as well, alrighty, and you keep going. When you have it done, you can paint inside here. I tend not to. I just go round with the sponge at the top here, wibble wobble, and give it a wee go there, okay? And you would leave that to dry. So I'm going to pack my paint away. I'm going to put my sponge in a little tub of water to keep it moist because I don't need it anymore, but I don't want it to dry. I'm going to set this on a clean, safe surface. Okay. So while you're waiting for that to dry, you're next thinking about your napkin. Okay. So here's one I prepared earlier. And let's have a look and talk about napkins. Because as ever, it's worth taking some time to choose. Okay. So we have two options. We can tear them or we can cut. And I'm going to show you both. I like the white, okay, and I know a lot of people are nervous about adding colour, so I tend to supply a lot of napkins that have a white background, alright. So if I open this one up, you can see there's lots of little oils, but there's lots of little pairings, okay. So I'm moving things about here. There we go. You can cut these and keep a little bit of the white background, so you don't have to fussy cut, okay? And that way, because the white paper is the same colour as your white napkin, you don't have to be an expert cutter, okay? I'll demonstrate that in more detail in a bit. The same goes for something like this. I love these watercolour hens. These are great for Easter or for all time of the year, really. But again, you can cut around even a wee grip and keep the white, and with a couple of layers of Mod Podge that will disappear. Now, these smaller ones, these are cocktail sized, okay? And then these are lunch size. The most common ones are the luncheon size. So if you can see the difference here, okay, I much prefer the cocktail ones. Sometimes they're the same price, if not more expensive, actually, than the luncheon ones. But you'll see now that for pots, they fit so much better, and also for bottles and jars. So before you think about glue or anything else, you're going to think about the placement of your napkin. You need to be aware of the bottom here. Look, you can see because it's curved. So if I was putting this snowman right here, can you see I would end up with this line? So you want the bottom to be hanging over, see? Yeah, so that when you're sticking it on, the bottom has a nice clean edge, and then we can just rub off any excess. And this would fit lovely and doesn't go over the rim. Now, I only found that cocktail version recently of this, so I have been using the luncheon one and either having his hat go over the rim or just sort of twisting them around a little bit just to make them fit. And I tend not to have the bird feeder here, just around here. Because his background is not white, this is a good example of a tearing option. If it's a torn edge, it fades into the white easier, and you can leave it as is, or you can mix a little bit of paint afterwards. But a cut edge would be too definite for that, okay? These, I love these. I have fallen in love with these, but I can't get them in cocktail size. So you will see, if I go to fit below the rim, I mean, he might still work like that. So you kind of have to make up a choice, your own choice on it. So obviously if I was doing this, I kind of like that better. So I'd have the ear going over the rim. And again, I would probably tear rather than cut here, just so that it fades in. And the same with the duck. So you'd maybe have the, could you get, yeah, you could get the sun in. I'd maybe take the sun out actually, just have the duck. It's quite nice the beak coming to there, and you get most of the feet in. And again, you wouldn't have any of this. And another example just of the cocktail and the full size. Actually, the full size on this one, the luncheon size, could work. I don't mind losing that. I think that's lovely, actually. but then also you have that option, and you can see instead of putting it this way, we're putting it this way. And again, I would be getting rid of these because there's dots on there. I would be tearing as well, okay? And there's another example of setting it there or setting it at an angle. So it takes time, but it's worth doing that first and making a decision on how you're going to place your napkin. So let's have a go at tearing, okay? So I'm going to open up this napkin. And remember, we know the napkins have 3 layers, but in fact, I'll take the tray away. We know the napkin has 3 layers. I don't separate them until I'm happy that I have my shape prepared. So I've got water here. It's just water and a brush. And I'm going to paint with water over where I want to cut. Okay, and if you hear a wee sound, that's my pup here. Come on, up you come. Diva has just come up to the studio to join me. She's just trying to get to her wee spot. There you go, pet. Hopefully you'll not hear any barking. All of these DVDs are recorded at home, so I'm just working as you would be working. So it can be done. Okay, so I have painted with water. So I'm just going to hold down my image and I'm just gently tearing away, and that's it. It's as simple as that. I'll fold this up because there's 3 more precious images on there to be used another day. Okay, that's Diva. Hey Diva. So I'm just trying to find the aisles here. Let me have a quick look. Here we go. Alrighty, so we have Mr. Snowman with the robin. So I talked about fussy cut. Fussy cut is whenever you cut the exact outline out, okay? We're not going to do that. Life's too short. So I'm going to pick a little grouping. I like this little pair down here, okay? Hang on. I like this little pair down here. That's better. So I'm just going to roughly cut it out first. And again, I'm going to fold and put away what I don't need right now. Keep my space manageable. When you're cutting, if you just always cut from the inside here and never fully close them, it kind of makes doing wee curved lines easier. And I'm actually moving the paper as much as I'm moving the scissors. So you can see I don't need to cut in great detail because I'm doing white on white. And it really does make life easier. So bear that in mind whenever you're choosing your napkins. Keep a wee eye out for ones on a white background, okay? So there's my 2 options. And we're going to have a go now at doing a bit of decoupage. So again, before I do anything else, there's my pot. I'm going to just lay it out, make sure I'm happy with where I'm going. Yep, that looks good to me. Okay, so I'm going to separate my layers. I'm wetting my finger and thumb. I'm pinching, hold, and then tear away. Okay, here we go. That's one layer. Now let's see, I'll try it here. There we go. There's 2 layers. If you're ever not sure, have you taken both layers off, check the layers that you've taken off, make sure that you have 2. Sometimes they both come off together. I'm going to scrunch that up and put that out of the road. Okay. I'm going to get my Mod Podge. And I'm just going to remind myself about there. Okay. Thin layer, not too thick, not too thin. Because you're putting white on white, if you kind of look and see where shiny, you can see where you've been Always do an area a little bit bigger than you think you need, just in case you go a little bit to one side, and then you should be covered. If it's too thin when you put it on, you'll end up with air bubbles. If it's too thick or uneven, you're risking it ripping on you, okay? So there's the glue on. I'm going to get my cling film. This is the magic ingredient. And get a little bit torn off. So I'm just getting this now. I should have had this done. This is, aha, here we go. So here we go. They're fairly generous that you're going to wrap the pot. Okay, so I have it sitting. I'm ready to put my napkin on. I'm going to place it on. Like so. Pat it down. And the magic bit is you get your cling film. Okay, and you squeeze it, give it a pull in all directions if you can, and that just brings pressure down onto the napkin and onto your pot. It also provides a barrier, so if you need to, you can give a wee massage. And you just want everything to connect, and you don't want any wrinkles if you can help it. But as I have said many times, a few laughter lines adds character, so we'll not worry too much about it, but we're aiming not to have any. The other advantage with using a cocktail napkin rather than a lunch napkin is the smaller the surface, the easier it is to keep it smooth. So you can even patchwork your napkins and cut out a few shapes and sort of layer them up that way rather than work with one big sheet. Okay, so that is looking good to me. Take it off. Yeah, perfect. There we go. So that's with the torn napkin, okay? And now with the cup napkin, it's exactly the same thing. So we get our pot. We can't reuse our cling film. So we get our napkin again. I still got my layers on, so I'm just going to play about with placing. Looks cute to me there. Wet my finger and thumb. Pinch, hold. Pinch, hold, look at that. There's my 2 layers. Scrunch, put away. There's a reminder of where I want my napkin to be. Perfect. A little bit of glue, bit of Mod Podge. Okay. Get my cling film first. Always have your cling film ready, because as soon as you put your napkin onto the glue, you're wanting to press out any air straight away, okay? So here is my very cute pair of oils. There we go. Get the napkin up with the cling film on. Give it a good old squeeze. Give it a wee massage. So at this stage, if you look closely, you will see where the paper stops and the paint starts. But that's where your sealing coats come in. So it's important when this is dried, you give the whole pot a coat, a very thin coat of Mod Podge glue. Don't worry that it's white, because it will dry clear. It acts as a sealant or a varnish. And I tend to give each decoupage project 2, 3, up to 6 very thin coats of Mod Podge to seal it. It just unites everything. That little rumble is Diva. So there you go. Okay, so that's that. And it's as easy as that. And then you add your extra layers to seal. So the only last thing to show you is if you were wanting to do something like this. Has the fabric on it and it has a little bit of paint on here and a little bit of glitter glue. Okay. This one here, I used the test pots. Okay, and you can see the torn edge. So if you are wanting to do the fabric, all you need to do is get your pot, okay, and measure your fabric, bring it around, give it a little bit to overlap, cut it, place it down, wet it with a sponge and water, add Mod Podge to it, add a thin coat of Mod Podge onto here as well. Start at the back, so the join's at the back, okay, and just bring it around. Always pull it as you're going, okay, so you're holding your piece here, you need to hold it, and just pull it, because there's a little bit of stretch in the fabric, so there's no wrinkles, okay, and keep going. And what you may need to do, it'll either stay or you may need to get, I use little pegs and just peg that down to hold it in place until the glue has dried. If you've rough edges like this, you can then go around while it's wet with the glue and put them all in one direction, okay, and it's as easy as that, and it adds just a wee extra something to it. For some of them I would just add paint to the top and the bottom maybe, okay, and here's one. How cute is that? Okay, and it has the fabric there, and that's just the napkin on white. And if you're into your colour, then you can just have colour. And that's with dab, dab, dabbing. And as you can see, I don't know if it's catching the light, it is to my eye, but it has a bit of nice copper glitter glue on there as well. Okay, so there you have it. That is how to decoupage a clay plant pot. And last wee thing, if you are using these, obviously there's a hole in the bottom, okay, so you need to make sure if you're putting a plant in that you have it sitting on a saucer. If you don't want your image to change over time, keep the inside plant inside the plastic pot and it'll stay true. Okay, happy decoupaging.